Hear Me See Me podcast is sponsored by Zenoti, the #1 cloud software for salons and spas. Because when people feel good, they find their greatness. I am Stuart Roberts, and I'm really excited to introduce my new podcast, Hear Me See Me. It's just over 5 years ago. I did something that changed my life. What it did, more than I could have ever realised, it helped me. I have met some absolutely amazing people. Some of the people that work in some of these places, many of them are volunteers, but some of them it is their job. I'd had this idea after being inspired by a guy in America I'd seen cutting hair on the streets and seeing the difference it made to the guys who were there. This is more than a job. This is a calling. Hello, this is Stuart from Hear Me See Me podcast. And today I've got a guest all the way from North Carolina. We've made sure our clocks are in sync and we're at the right time. And she's a wonderful lady. We got introduced by Ruby at ZeroGapped magazine, which I'll tell you a bit more later. But today I'm interviewing the wonderful lady barber, Ash. How are you, Ash?
I'm doing good.
I've got to say as well, Ash is very nervous. So that's the truth, isn't it?
That's very true.
She's very, very nervous, but she's willing to have a chat with us today. So, Ash, how long have you been a barber?
Since 2011.
All right. So you've been a barber for quite some time.
For a hot minute, yeah.
What took you into it? So when you were younger, how did you go into barbering?
Truthfully, I got a very bad haircut when I was 12. And I have been cutting my own hair and my friend's hair ever since. I really love punk rock, so I started doing a lot of shaves and stuff like that because all my friends were punk rock, and I started getting into super fun, cool haircuts, and yeah.
So you found your vocation?
I did, yeah. Ironically, from a really bad haircut.
So recently you contacted us because, and this is a wild story, because we got interviewed by, it's not me, because a ZeroGapped magazine is a female barber magazine. So they contacted Jackie, who runs our northern projects in England, because she's a female hairdresser barber and she's doing the work that we do. And then they're going to feature on it. And you in America happened to see this, didn't you? And it struck a chord with you. You contacted the editor, got on to me, and this is why we're having the chat. So what was that sort of resonated with you when you saw the article about what Jackie does?
Yeah, I saw the article on Instagram, and I asked if we had something like that in the States, and unfortunately, we don't have something like that in the States. So I took it upon myself, why not? Let's do this.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing.
So have you got your own studio? Have you got your own barbershop?
I do. Yeah. In downtown Asheville, North Carolina, I have my own studio. Yes.
Yeah. And so where did you first start doing the homeless? Was it a local place?
Yeah. We call it A-Hope, but it's basically a day center for Asheville has a very large homeless population, and our centers are overrun. There's not enough places. like there's not enough housing. Our rents are really high. It's a tourist city. So there's a lot of Airbnbs, but there's not a lot of places to actually live and work here. And again, we have a large homeless population. So what we do have is a day hope center to where the homeless can come every morning and get donuts and coffee and take a hot shower, and they can lock their belongings up in the lockers, and they don't have to carry it on their back all day through the day.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm doing the haircuts at. Yeah.
I think that's a crucial thing, that when some of the places I visit in the UK, that they've not all got that. The lockers thing is really important, because when you're out in the streets and like as you say, you've got to carry this stuff around. If there's somewhere you can put it for a few hours so you can just walk freely without everything around you, those lockers are such a great idea.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's almost crucial because, like, you know, well, that goes farther into the story. So I personally was homeless when I came to this city, and I kept a bunch of paperwork that I knew that was very, you know, like sacred, and that I had to keep, and just having a locker to put it in so I didn't have to keep it in my backpack was very important. So that's why A-Hope in Asheville, North Carolina is so important, and that's a great idea. If I wanted, like, personally, like a change of clothes, I would keep them in my locker, you know, just to keep them safe. So clothes, paperwork, supplies, you know, as long as you have one place where you can have a lock, and, you know, you don't have to carrying it on your back.
Yeah.
Was like what A-Hope is doing is, you know, monumental, and very grateful that we have that here in Asheville, for sure.
Yeah. Like you said that you was like homeless when you got there. It's hard for people to understand, and it's not being sexist, but I think there's also an additional thing of being a woman, a young woman who's on the streets, because you've got the additional thing of security. So that little base to go to must have meant the world to you, to have that one place where you could go.
Honestly, the shower was the best part.
Yeah.
I would get up every morning out of my tent, and I knew I would just go to A-Hope, and I'd get free coffee and donuts, and I'd get that shower, and it just made me feel like alive, like a real person, you know.
Yeah.
So that was crucial, for sure.
And isn't it ironic that the thing, you know, a shower, a coffee, a donut, you know, these things that we just totally take for granted can be like a pot of gold, can't it? You know, that it can be so valuable to someone, you know, in that position.
When you have nothing. Yeah, definitely. Sometimes a donut would be like all that I would eat that day. So thank God there were like free donuts and coffee.
Yeah.
And it also builds like a sense of community for a homeless, because it's like we're all there, we're all drinking donuts and coffee, and it just really, you know, puts it home like we're not alone, like we're in this together, you know. So that was very nice during that time.
I think it's something I've witnessed. You know, it don't matter where you are in the world, the atmosphere, the experience is the same with homelessness. That and as well, there's the negatives, but there's the positives of that camaraderie. You know, that you are all in it together. You've got people on your side.
Definitely. Again, we we're all there for different reasons, but there were so many of us that would, you know, look out for each other and care for each other. And there were even like military vets who sadly, you know, through PTSD could not, you know, come back, you know, like to reality. I don't know, but very stand up, beautiful, honest, homeless people. And, you know, there were several people who took me under the wing and just you know, cared for me, you know, and when society wouldn't, you know, so I'm so grateful for that.
So you said you were living in a tent.
Yeah.
So there must have. How did you change that circumstance? How did you go from, you know, living in a tent, relying on the service of that wonderful place, to then now being, you know, working, you know, being a fantastic lady barber in your own premises? How did you get out of that?
Well, literally from the ground up, like when I came here, I didn't even have a backpack. Like I literally came here with 3 pairs of clothes and plastic bags. And I hitchhiked here. And, when I got here, another homeless person showed me, she walked me around and showed me the city. And basically I spare changed for $5 and magically, at our Goodwill Center got a $5 backpack, which was great.
Yeah.
And then another homeless friend, he had a tent that the door was broken. But he was like, here, sister, you know, because the homeless take care of the homeless even when society is not taking care of the homeless. So he gave me a tent with a broken door. And as I said, it was January. So it was very, very cold. But I do want to say a lot of strangers and helpers and just kind, genuine people. I had a Christian couple that came in and they knew that night was going to be 7 below, so they brought extra blankets to my camp, you know, and so where I used to camp is actually high-rise condos now, you know, so the city's changing. but I had this beautiful view, and other homeless people showed me safe places to camp.
Yeah.
And we all stayed there, and again, you know, camaraderie. And we all looked out for each other, and I had a tent with a door that wouldn't zip, but I also had a stranger, bring me, you know, a 0 below, you know, sleeping bag. So I made it, and there was a lot of love, you know, so.
I think that's the important thing to get across to people, because we know the negatives, you know, but the positives, you know, get across the fact that, you know, homeless people are helping homeless people. whereas maybe the powers that be should be getting in and helping us. It's people helping people, isn't it? You know, and that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Like, I'm telling you, like, people who have been through struggle often are the most quick to be generous and to be kind, because they've felt it, they know it, and you know, like, I'm telling you, how I made it out of where I was at to where I'm at now is by, like, the kindness of other people who have been there, or who have struggled, or who have had loss. And we really do carry each other, you know. So.
Yeah. But also, you must have had a inner determination as well.
Oh, yeah. My circumstances were homelessness, but I didn't identify with it. Like, I knew that that's what had happened to me, or where I was at, but there was no part of my mind that I was going to stay there or be there. You know, obviously I own my own barber studio. So, but don't get me wrong, it took a lot of fight, and it took a lot of perseverance, and it took everything in me, like willpower, but I made it out, you know.
Yeah. And you were saying to me that you didn't go straight out into barbering because you'd lost all your, like, you hadn't got your tools, you'd come away with nothing. That's expensive to buy, isn't it? So you did everything, you know, like washing dishes and
I did a lot of really odd jobs, because when you're living in a tent, you're not necessarily going to be fresh, or like you can't afford the, like, you know, $200 clippers. Or any of that. So I literally had to take a break for a second, even just to get the tools that I needed. You know, to barber again, you know, and then on top of that, I had to build clientele, and I will point out that coming from homelessness and trying to have the self-esteem to be like, I'm the best barber, I'm gonna hook you up, is actually a really weird, like, headspace to be in. So, you know, because, like, homelessness hurts. It hurts up here. So I had to overcome a lot of insecurities, and I had to fight really hard, but I made it. So
you did. And now you are, you in your words, you're a kick-ass barber now.
I am a kick-ass barber. I can do a mean fade, like, for real. Yeah. Like, for sure.
So, you know, what we spoke about, like, when you're in your studio and you see the effect that just your work on general public, the guys coming in, get their hair cut, feeling good, walk out high. How does that reflect on what you do at the homeless shelter?
Well, it's similar, but honestly, like, as I said, I've been there, so I'm more, like, emotionally tied to it. But like, to see somebody who's not had the ability or the resources to, you know, keep up with themselves, and to give them their sense of self back, or to even get them looking right to where they can get that job that, you know, they want. Like, like it's satisfying to me, it's satisfying to them, but it's again, I was there, you know, so I know what it's like to want to be who you really are, and to be overlooked. So I really, really, really just want to show them that they are worthy of, you know, looking fantastic. You know, I want them to strut their stuff into that new job. You know, I want them to feel life again, you know, like that's a gift that I can give, you know, so.
Yeah. I've had it said to me many times that, from guys on the street, women on the street, about they feel invisible.
Yeah. That definitely, I personally can relate. You know, when you're homeless, like, you know, I got makeup on now, but like, you know, when you're homeless, like there's so many people that I guess they're too busy or they got their own stuff they're working on, but like, you really are invisible, and like, you really are like the homeless actually help the homeless, and there is a lot of camaraderie, you know. But I can't tell you how many times that like I became homeless out of circumstance. I lived in a house before I became homeless, but to just be overlooked or to just like not even feel like part of society or human was like it hurts, you know, for sure. Like, and if I can do my small tiny part and give that back, you know, then I'll do it, you know.
I mean, you just said there to not feel human, and
yeah,
you know, that is the ultimate right of any human on this planet. To feel anything less than that is just isn't right. And the thing is, I've met many people who live in a tent, but I've never met anyone who's always lived in a tent. You know, there's generally that thing, like you said, I lived in a house. There was life before, and for you, there's life after. But unfortunately, for some, there is life after, is there? You know?
Yeah. But on the other hand, like here in America, our resources are overwhelmed. So a lot of people will fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
You know, like I would love for there to be more, but that's just the way it is currently. And yeah, so the main thing is that homelessness can be a temporary crisis, but I personally feel like it's our job as a society to like help. Like there's not enough help. We need to help. You know, that's what I needed when I was homeless.
Yeah.
But there needs help, and the way that you feel about yourself can help. So if I can just make you feel normal, like how you used to feel, you know, like if I can give you that cut to get that job, like you know, party on, let's do it, you know. So, and
the thing as well is how you can help as well is that because you've been in that position and then you've got through that position and then now you're in you know, where you are now, and yet you're still giving back to do it. You know, you're not forgotten that now. Because some people, they think, right, I'm okay now. I've got my own place of work. I'm cool. Right, everything's good, and then they just move forward. But it's important for people like me, people like you, to then keep looking back and keep going. No, I've got to give some time out, because, as we said earlier, it's almost a selfish thing, because we get so much out of it, don't we, when we just do that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, I can definitely say there's, like, a selfish part of me that, like, enjoys helping other people who, you know, I've been there, I get it, but, you know, so, yeah, like, it's selfish and it's rewarding for me, but definitely at the same time, you know, like we're all in it together, like all in it together. I wish more people would, like, take their blinders off, you know, like we're all in it together, for sure.
And I think it's not until you get involved in places, like if you take the time out to go and meet homeless people, to go to a homeless centre, firstly you realise that everyone's just normal. They're just people. They've all got their own stories. But then you can't walk back out and then put the blinkers back on. I think once they come off, they stay off, because you're aware of another world.
I would hope so. Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. You know, some people have their own agenda, or probably are better at, like, compartmentalizing stuff like that. But I know for me, I mean, I'm doing haircuts at the place that I showered at in the morning, and, like, use the lockers. So, like, you know, like I still, I've been in Asheville for 6 years, and, like, I still walk down, you know, I work downtown, so I still see, like, my homies that are still like doing their thing, and I'll be like, hey, you know, so like I haven't forgotten about them, you know, and, like, and they, you know, they haven't forgotten about me, but I really do want to point out, like, it does something to you when you help other people.
Yeah.
Like you can't buy that, you know, and we like it just makes me feel so good to give somebody confidence or self-esteem or any of that, you know, like, so, I literally, I want to help. I want other people to, like, do what I do. Like, you know, like, what about you? You can be homeless, get a haircut, get a job, work your way up, you know, start your own company, like, you know, do more things, like, you know, like get involved. That's for sure. Like, that's so important. It's just get involved. It's not about you. Like, you know, like that's my piece. Like, it's not about me. It's not about, like, let's just, like, do it. We're all in this together, you know, on this weird world, like, you know, going in motion. But like let's do shit. Like, you know, so I was inspired by ZeroGapped, and so I'm here in the States, and it'd be cool if it turned into something more, you know.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's by example, isn't it? So the more people we get, ironically, we get lots and lots of messages. And you messaged us yourself, but we're a tiny little charity in the UK, so we feel a responsibility to not start giving advice to people in America, because we don't know the legislations there and things like that. But hopefully that's going to change, because we do want to get so that we know the situation there more. I'm hoping when the pandemic's over, and travels back as it should be, that I can eventually get over to America. And then we can find a way of making this something that can be rolled out there so that everyone can take it up, in every city and every town, because everyone needs the help. And they need people like you who are going to help by example and go out there and do the work.
Yeah. And legislation is whatever. If enough voices say something, that does change, by the way. So
if the legislation don't fit, change the legislation.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So how's the studio? How's things? How's work going there?
Well, so, it's pretty new. It's growing. I have my loyal clients who love me. I'm a little bit quirky, but they love me. So it's all good. And, they all know that I'm doing haircuts for homeless. They don't know that I was homeless, but
they might now.
but they definitely know that I have I'm a philanthropist at heart.
Yeah.
So they definitely know that I got this going on. That's why Thursdays aren't bookable anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'm out there killing it.
Are you doing that every week?
Every week, yeah. There's a sign-up sheet every week. I'm telling you. So a lot of people come to Asheville, North Carolina, because the weather isn't that bad, and we do have a lot of meals that we give out to the homeless, and it's a wealthy people's tourist destination, but it's also very artistic.
Right.
And that being said, we are home. There are we have a program called Homeward Bound. Right. There are always at least minimal 500 homeless people sleeping outside in my city every night.
Yeah.
That's 500 people every night. We have when we do have harsh winters, people die. We call it Code Purple. People die in their sleeping bags. So all that shows to me is there's not enough people caring, So we have to care. Somebody's got to care. I work with Beloved, and they have started a program where we clean up campsites, and they've started to give our COVID vaccinations and whatnot. And then, as I said, there are charities that give out a free hot meal every day and whatnot. But, I would love to see more people we got to get together. We got to do this to help, we got to.
People's army. People helping people.
Who the hell else is going to do it if we don't do it? Let's do it. Let's do something, shoot.
Well, it's been inspiring talking to you today. I've really enjoyed it. You're a very shy lady, so it took a while to get you to start before. We had a nice long chat before, but I've really enjoyed it. And I think it's so crucial. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for sort of sharing your experience, because it's going to help a lot of people, it's crucial.
I hope so. Yeah. Again, so my story, I used to be homeless. I did everything in my power to get my life together. Not every homeless person is capable of that.
No.
But if what I'm doing can inspire more other people or awareness or to care, you guys like inspired me to do it in the States. So you know, let's do it. Like, rock on, you know.
I'm sure they will. But you know, Ash, it's been a real pleasure, and I'll keep in touch, and I'll put you on my. I'm gonna do a world tour, and you just put North Carolina on my map, because I've got to come out there and have a cup of coffee with you and do some cutting with you. It's got to be done.
Yeah. Well, we're in a city nestled in the mountains, so you'll love it. And we have good coffee. Yeah.
Good. That always gets me there. Well, thank you so much, and you take care of yourself.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Just over 5 years ago, I did something that changed my life. What it did, more than I could have ever realised, it helped me. I have met some absolutely amazing people. Some of the people that work in some of these places, many of them are volunteers, but some of them, it is their job. This is more than a job. This is a calling.